Hey there, beautiful people. I'm Tracy Rigdon.
And I'm Shelton Hull.
And this is the Contrast Project. Holy shit! How was your Thanksgiving?
It was good.
What did you do for Thanksgiving?
I ate food, watched a simulacrum of football. It was kind of more of a mellow Thanksgiving. You know, we have a very big family, so usually Thanksgiving and Christmas are some of the only times we can get everyone together at once. So it sucked that we couldn't do that this year. But you know, the food was there, and there's lots of Zooming and FaceTiming and all that stuff going on.
Right. Yeah. Pandemic Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Yeah. I went up north. I went up to Maryland, and didn't do turkey at all. Went ahead and had crabs and oyster.
Yeah.
My favorite. My favorite. And you can't go wrong with Maryland crabs.
You can't.
No. So,
unless you're allergic to crabs.
Unless you're allergic to crabs. That's right. That's right. So, we've been talking a lot about the administration in Washington.
Right.
Those corrupt bastards.
Yeah.
So we wanted to shift this episode to our local corrupt bastards. Jacksonville has been going through a lot of stuff lately. What with the city council, fighting with JEA and Lot J, and that mess going on down there. We were talking once before. You had some pretty good ideas about the Lot J project, how the city could be more invested into it rather than just throwing money at it.
Sure.
They've got pretty much already $223 million to go into the project, and Shad Khan has already asked for him and the developers have already asked for another $200 million interest-free loan for additional infrastructure. And not to mention, before they could even break ground, they're going to have to decontaminate the ground underneath the parking lot.
Yeah.
It's contaminated property. So that in and of itself looks like the city is just going to be just throwing money at this thing.
Yeah.
And it's a crapshoot whether or not it's going to be beneficial to the city as a whole. My take on the Lot J project is if we've already invested, well, we haven't invested in anything, but if we're so concerned about building up the urban core, which is a little bit of a stretch away from Lot J. You put Lot J in there in a big entertainment center, it seems to me like they're just drawing people away from the urban core.
To a certain extent, yeah. The theory is, the old rising tide lifts all boats theory. The idea that if they build it, people will come, and for that amount of investment they're looking at putting into it, they're expecting a large boost to the tourist economy, which, on paper is a good thing. You bring those people in. As we've seen with all the Jaguar stuff so far, that the money invested in the team, I feel, over the years has paid off for the city in terms of, prestige, in terms of tourist, economy and stuff. You noted that we're throwing money at it, and we are. And, of course, on a day like this, it's kind of cold, it's kind of windy, more so than usual. When you throw money, you can't really control where it goes. If you ball the money up into like a little ball and you throw it like that, you can get a little bit of accuracy. But if you're just trying to make it rain, making it rain in December in Florida, the money's going to fly all over the place, and who knows who's going to pick it up.
Yeah. Well, it seems as though, we already know that Lenny Curry is in Shad Khan's back pocket. It seems as though
maybe a front pocket.
Maybe a front pocket.
They're very close.
Deep in that pocket.
Yeah. That little mystery pocket on your jeans.
Lenny's already said that. Well, if we don't get the Lot J, then the Jaguars are going to leave.
Yeah.
He said that yesterday. He said.
Well, that's what sports teams always do, particularly football teams. They're always gaslighting their populations. There are very few teams that are having amount of public ownership. Few teams that even allow the city to own the actual stadium. We kind of have something like that now, but it's kind of the Jaguars will ask for whatever they want, and we give it to them because the threat of moving a team is profound. Now, as far as this whole Lot J thing goes, Paddington had a great idea earlier, which I agree with, which is that part of the funds that the city invests in Lot J should entail, in part, at least a small ownership stake, 5%, 10% in the Jaguars. You know, if this for this Lot J thing to happen, obviously anything related to throwing money at it, you're going to get cost overruns, you're going to get budget overruns, you're going to get, you know, timeline overruns, and whatever money we think we're spending, we're going to spend a third more, 50% more, because that's how everything happens. Look at the courthouse. Look at you know, look at the Death Star. You know,
that's
like,
right.
I mean, union labor at least, but still. And so with this, I think part of it should entail getting an ownership stake in the Jaguars, and there should be a guarantee the Jaguars aren't leaving.
Well,
you know, this whole
Lamping said, "Well, we won't leave for the next 5 years." Well, that's five years. He's already said that.
I mean, we invest so much time and energy in these people. Look at David Caldwell, nice guy, I'm sure, you know, but as general manager, look at the results.
Right.
You know, he came in, first thing he did was say we're never going to sign Tebow. Shah Khan said openly that he would be open to signing Tebow, you know, like in that first week that he took over the team, and as soon as he hired Caldwell, you know, Caldwell put the kibosh on that. You know, and we've been struggling to even have a winning record.
Right.
You know,
they don't want to get a franchise quarterback.
No.
I mean,
they don't want to get a franchise.
Right.
It's like you're spending $1 billion, and it's one of those things. It's not like they're failing to spend money. They're spending tons of money. They're just not making the best use of their talent.
Right.
It's kind of, you know, dare I say, almost Trump-like.
And then trade off good players.
Yeah. Who are all happy to go because, you know, when you're when you're playing pro football, you know, that first 5 years is where you make your legacy.
Right.
You know, you come in like the draft system as it relates with most sports, the worst teams get the best talent coming out of each individual draft. So a lot of these players that come in, you know, they come into the worst team in the league. You got the best player out of college coming into the worst team in the league, and they've got one big contract that they get. But if the team does badly, they spend that first 4 or 5 years on a team that's not winning, and their numbers aren't up where they need to be.
Right.
You know, so then they're going to want to go.
Well, the team is going to have to, going back to the whole Lot J thing and being adjacent to, you know, Daly's and the stadium. If the Jaguars don't start winning, and of course after the pandemic they start filling up the stadium again.
Right.
If they're not going to win, if they're not a winning team, and I know there's, you know, fair weather fans and all that, but if you've got a losing team and you just sunk $400+ million into this Lot J project. And it's fully built, and it's functional, and it's bright and glittery, and it looks good for the first 2 years or whatever. Yeah. People coming to Lot J are probably only going to be at some point, if the team is still losing, it seems as though the people are only going to come to see Lot J.
Yeah.
They'll be coming to, you know, ooh, wow, let's go to that restaurant.
And that's something that has to be changed too. If we're going to do this Lot J thing, if this symbolizes like a wholesale investment in the revitalization of downtown, I'm all for it. But I kind of feel like if that was the case, you know, should we have taken down the Hart Bridge ramps as soon as we did? Right. Should we have taken down the landing as soon as we did? Should we be, you know, not using Metro Park right now? Like all these are viable assets. If we're going to do this thing, we need to have a wholesale commitment to making this city, particularly the urban core, you know, amenable to outside interests, tourists and stuff. Another thing I would suggest is pushing back last call in Jacksonville. That's got a huge resistance. It's unlikely to happen, but I'd say particularly like the beaches and the urban core, you know, downtown Riverside, Springfield, San Marco, you know, push last call back to 3 a.m.
Sure.
You know?
Sure.
Because how do we compete with Orlando, with Tampa, with Savannah, with Miami?
When I was living in Orlando, they had bottle clubs that were open like till dawn. But you had to bring your own booze. Yeah, you brought your bottle, you know, and they'd close the doors, and then they would just serve Cokes and Sprites and whatever.
You can be here in the urban core, and you know, if you and your friends are going to go out and party, you can be out on the beach, be out in St. Augustine, be out in Gainesville practically by the time you even figure out where to go in the urban core on some nights where it's like quiet.
Right.
You know? And we're hopefully with this global pandemic, as we hopefully start to get things back to normal next year, we can get more of a sense of, like, downtown has to be a 24/7 zone, you know? Like everything closing up.
Like the underground jazz clubs and stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, it's not going to get where it needs to go until people feel comfortable raising families in these downtown apartments and stuff, and that's not going to happen. Like, it's great now for young couples, young single people, whatnot, but you're not going to get the families there until safety becomes like more of a certainty, and that's not going to happen until you dramatically increase the volume of people, you know, out there, out on those streets, like all the time.
Like a walkable area, like they say, a walkable zone. You know, I used to live down in the urban core myself.
Yeah.
Down off Church Street, just a couple blocks away from Hemming Park.
Yeah.
I never had an issue. I walk around there at night.
Yeah.
I'd walk down to Art Walk. Used to walk to City Hall from there.
Yeah.
And I never had an issue. My car parked on the street, never had a busted window.
Yeah.
But yet, you hear, you know, people that live in the, you know, suburban areas, that's all they have in their mind is that downtown is a high crime area.
Yeah.
And technically that's not true. It's just not true.
Yeah.
I mean, there's every now and again something happens down there, but it's just, it's rarely.
Yeah, it'd be like someone saying, well, I don't want to stay in a hotel downtown because one of them burned down in 1963.
Right. Well, going back to the Lot J thing too, and as it pertains to the urban core, you know, they're moving Mosh over to the North Bank.
Yeah.
And Shad Khan, I guess, you know, threw an olive leaf at it with a $5 million donation.
And it's, I mean, and it's fine, good for them. They're getting the money. I'm sure it's going to be a great facility. But, I mean, I love new stuff and modern stuff, but I like elements of old school. I like Mosh being where it was. Well, and like I like Friendship Fountain. You know, River City Brewing Company. What happens with that? I don't know, but I feel
think that had a lot to do with Mosh moving.
Yeah,
the development going in there,
because like that, like whatever happens there, like that's a nice hub too. Like there, that's where you anchor your South Bank Riverwalk. Without a strong like that Mosh Friendship Fountain area, that little like quarter square mile right around there, you need that to anchor your South Bank Riverwalk going down past all the hotels and whatnot, down out towards where Crawdads used to be. It's like 2.25 miles, that South Bank walk, and it's lovely. You know, it
is.
But people aren't going to see it unless there's something to draw them. And right now in that South Bank, unless you're staying at one of those hotels, you're not gonna go there. You know, you might go to Ruth's Chris for special occasions, but then you're just going there to eat and then like go.
Yeah.
Right? You need more like, you know, people getting off of these hotels, taking a little ferry across to the. We need more mass transit too. Lot J has to have like a designated mass transit hub for
our Skyway. Should go down if they're gonna go through with the,
absolutely.
They should take the Skyway all the way down there.
That's right, from the Prime Osborne all the way down to the stadium.
Yeah, they've been talking about we're gonna take it to the stadium. But they never do it.
Yeah, well they have to. I mean, if they're gonna spend this money, you know, they need to
take it down there and put one of those big hubs in there.
Yeah.
You know, the terminal, you know, the end of the line right there in front of Lot J and or the stadium.
Yeah.
It would be perfect. It would be perfect. Because, for one, you take away Lot J as a parking facility. Of course, they say they're going to put in a parking garage.
That'd be nice.
But, you know, you got a lot of parking down there towards the convention center. And, you know, big empty lots with parking. People could park there, jump on the Skyway, and be down at the stadium.
Or anywhere in between.
Or anywhere else. Yep, you could go get off at Hemming Park, or you could go to the other side of the river,
or park your car down by the Prime Osborne and just walk the rest of the way. Like from Prime Osborne to the stadium, that's 20 minutes on foot, maybe.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah. And
if it's game day, if it's a jazz festival, like you want that walkability.
coming up on the next segment,
Yes.
we're going to have Kelly Rich with us.
That's right.
She's the director of SPAR. Mm-hmm. And we're going to talk about some of the stuff that they're doing over there in Springfield and all the community involvement. Oh, yeah, it's fantastic, fantastic. So stick around for the next one, and we'll see you in a minute. Welcome back, kids. We have with us today Miss Kelly Rich. She is the director of SPAR, the Springfield Preservation and Restoration.
Revitalization.
Revitalization.
It actually was that originally, so you weren't wrong.
Right.
They changed it several years ago, so you're correct.
SPAR Council.
Yes.
Right. And as director, your job description is basically wear a lot of hats.
Yes, exactly. I tell people I pretty much have to be a cheerleader for the neighborhood.
Yeah.
So I'm the biggest advocate and constantly in discussion with anything that affects Springfield. I've usually got our hand in.
Yeah, and it goes way beyond just the businesses. Like you say, it's a community involvement thing.
Yes, very much so. We are in constant discussion with all the city departments, with JSO, with JEA, anything that we can do to work on bettering the quality of life for the neighbors and the residents of the neighborhood, and including, like you said, we do recruit businesses. We work with our current business community, and then probably what takes the most amount of time is marketing the neighborhood. Things like this, media, events, things that we can do to appeal and interest people to come and check out the neighborhood, and hopefully change outdated perceptions that people still harbor in the city.
Right. I grew up on the north side, and back in my younger days, Springfield was nothing like it is now.
I have heard some stories. Yes,
it has changed quite a bit. The transformation is remarkable.
Right. It's been wonderful to see, especially in the past 4 to 5 years. It's been, a lot of people will tell me stories because I've only been here for 3 years. That Springfield has had a lot of starts and stops, and so this is the furthest and more successful than it's been, and so that's always a positive, even with this year that we've had that's been obviously challenging and scary at times, especially for our businesses. We didn't lose a single business throughout this year, which is such a statement.
That is a statement.
I know, and we even had businesses opening.
Right, the new restaurant.
Yes, we've had 2 restaurants and an ice cream shop open in the midst of COVID, so I think that's a statement to the community and the residents that rally behind our businesses.
Well, that's one thing about Springfield is the community is very tight-knit.
Yes.
If you look at some of the other, besides the SPAR Council Facebook page, you look at the other Springfield group pages. They're very involved.
We always joke that we love like family and we fight like family. So
it gets heated sometimes.
Well, it is, but then the next day someone needs to borrow something and the neighbor's bringing it over. They're sharing. There's a lot of meal trains, or there's a lot of sharing of tools, or hey, I've got this old mixer, does anyone want it? And they, it's just a really interesting camaraderie and support system that this neighborhood has, and I think that's the appeal for a lot of people that they don't get in other neighborhoods, and that these neighbors really do know one another. We know not only people's names, we know our dogs' names, we know our kids' names, we know that so and so had surgery last week, and so it's a definitely unique dynamic to the neighborhood that I think has been very part of its success.
Right. I lived in Bartram for a long time, and it was nearly a year before we were able to even meet any of our neighbors.
Really?
I mean, it was.
Well, a lot of neighborhoods you kind of get used to going into your garage, and then you don't.
Done for the
that's
day.
what you see. Yeah, and so part of that mentality of having to share public space, a lot of people have to park in the street, so you have to kind of learn to work together on that. A lot of people hang out on the front porch, where a lot of neighborhoods are more general in the back yard and in their back patios a little bit more private. But here in Springfield, it's just people are hanging out on the front porch, and that helps you really get to know your neighbors a little bit better.
Which plays right into the PorchFest.
Oh yeah, that's a part of the kind of whole
Which
dynamic.
is a big undertaking.
Well, it's huge. It takes all year. The front porch dynamic of the neighborhood is part of our whole identity. And like I said, even pre PorchFest with it, we just would have had our 6th year. Is that people, like I said, they really do use their front porch, and so PorchFest really just kind of utilized that in addition to all the other components that we work on highlighting the porches with a unique architecture. We do a lot of decorating in the neighborhood. We just finished our 3rd, or in the midst of our 3rd season. Porch decorating and stuff like that to give reason.
And I know you had the tree lighting recently.
Yes. We're trying to be like a holiday destination for the city. So any opportunity that people can decorate or highlight their it's just the neighborhood's beautiful. Not only with the historic architecture, but with the tree canopy and the it's a unique dynamic that I think is hard to replicate anywhere in the city.
Right. I went to the last PorchFest.
Yeah.
And it was just remarkable.
It's grown.
It was huge.
Yeah.
Huge. I can't imagine how much work you put into it and how many volunteers were involved.
I tell you, that day we get close to about 200 volunteers. But previously, with the committee and the leadership, it literally takes all year. We'll start.
You filled some big shoes.
Well, thank you. I know
sure did.
the people that had brought it and strengthened it, and I was able to just be plopped in and just continue it, and hopefully, like I said, something we're really proud of. I think that it's something that resonates with people all over the city, and people will come to events like that, and they have such warm memories and happiness from that they'll come back throughout the year and enjoy the neighborhood and hit up our businesses and things like that. Which is this was the goal. The goal of the original intent for this festival was to highlight Springfield and to spur economic development and economic impact, and to give people warm and fuzzies about the neighborhood. And I think it's worked.
Well, I walked around at PorchFest last year for at least 3 hours, and I think I saw every band. But I gave it a good shot. And some of the houses are beautiful, both large and small.
Right. It's a good eclectic mix.
Yeah, people have put a lot of effort into really just making it a beautiful place. Let's talk about the zoning aspect, historical designation. What kind of effort do people normally have to go through to whether they're going in for new construction or they're going to get an older house that needs to be fixed up? I know that they have to,
there's a process.
There's a process.
Well, I'll tell you, most people seem to think that new construction is frowned upon in the neighborhood, and that's not true.
No, that's not.
And so the neighborhood is under not only a historic district designation, but also we have historic overlay that kind of monitors different design guidelines. And so, and really all that is just to kind of monitor and to help guide to where everything coordinates together. Obviously, we don't want a 10-story building plopped in the middle of Main and 8th Street and stuff. So we want everything to work together, to coordinate, to balance with what historically was already there, and like I said, to bring value to the neighborhood as a whole.
Sure.
And so one thing that we always try to relay to people is that SPAR is not the one making the decisions.
That's true.
People will call us regularly saying that, I thought we had to get permission from SPAR and stuff, and so it's really not.
I see that on the group pages.
Yeah, and it's really hard because people have turned us into kind of this mentality of we're policing the neighborhood, and certainly not what our intent is by any means. But if you look at what the people from many years ago that were working to advocate and to protect Springfield because of the work that they did, and they put these implementations in and these restrictions in, that's one of the main reasons why Springfield has grown so much, is because it has been protected. Because back in the 80s and 90s, everything was kind of demo happy, and if there was any sort of issue or concern, they were just, well, let's just plow it down and take care of the problem, just erase the problem. Well, because of that, we've lost a lot of important architecture, not only here but everywhere in the city, of course.
Everywhere,
But, yeah. And so having those, kind of trailblazers that were working to protect the neighborhood, I'm sure in the height of it, people were kind of irritated that you're trying to tell me what to do and stuff. But at the long term, if you look at what they were able to protect, and like I said, the property values and the whole aspect of the neighborhood, you can contribute to the work that was done 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah. Going forward into 2021, talking
I'm ready.
talking about your capital campaign coming up, and letting people know that they can contribute.
Oh, excellent.
Donations.
Yes. So Hurricane Irma knocked us out of our Main Street building 3 years ago.
Right.
And as with any nonprofit and having to go through committees and bid process, it's been a long process. And so we actually have started construction on our Main Street building. I think we're about a month in, and our goal is to be in just a few months, maybe around February. But what I guess kind of the symbolicness of this project is to be able to show that despite a tumultuous year, despite everything being kind of in a wait and see mode, we've been able to move forward and to get us back on Main Street. And what a sign to the neighborhood, kind of a morale boost of getting the lights back on historic building and putting a building back into use on Main Street. So we're really excited now. We're going on good faith that we'll be able to have the full amount raised at that point. We're about halfway there. We've had a wonderful community support. A lot of our businesses are kind of rallying behind us and doing small-scale fundraisers and benefits for us. And so we're really hoping to finish up in the next 6 months of our fundraising campaign. And so it is one of those things that we do need the city's, the community's help. And every donation is appreciated. We had one of our residents send in $5 to our donation. And I started crying because I'm going to tell you, just her incentive of, her desire to support, it just meant a lot. It really did. So it just showing that our neighborhood is behind us, our city is behind us. And I like to say that in the past 3 years with us being in a temporary office, look at what we've been able to accomplish in the neighborhood. Get us back in a real office where we have lots of storage and room to grow, and see what else we can accomplish.
That's very good. Now, they can find our people can find links on the Facebook page. There's an article there I read this morning, and it goes to talking about the
probably the Giving Tuesday and
Giving Tuesday and that.
I always send people to the website, SPARcouncil.org, because everything Springfield-centric is on that page. Not only about our organization, but about all of the things that are happening in Springfield. It's got links to our businesses, links to our different SPAR perks, memberships, things that are changing, events in the neighborhood. And so if anything Springfield, I send people to the website. And of course, there is that little donate button in the top right corner. So
can't miss it.
We're trying to make it really easy.
Onward to some of the art that's going on. You got a mural project.
Yes. So in case people weren't aware, PorchFest actually funds public art in the neighborhood every year. So we've been sitting on, what are we going to do this year and what can we accomplish? And we had hit a couple of brick walls on several thoughts and processes. And so we decided to try to do something high impact that would hopefully obviously continue to boost the morale and something fun. And so there were some concrete buildings just sitting in the midst of Clutho Park. And so we're like, let's throw some paint on that. And so we actually had to go through a pretty drawn-out process because they actually were owned by JEA, and they were in the public park system, so we had to work with parks.
So you're in park,
Yes. So there was actually several conversations, but we finally got approval about a month ago. We chose a Springfield artist, David Nakashi, I think is how you pronounce his last name. And he has done several murals in the city, is super talented. And so he did a trio of murals. They're all similar, focused on the Prairie Cross, which is kind of like the Springfield mascot, kind of our icon that comes from Henry Clutho. And so he's doing 3 different versions of the same mural, different, they're a little different color combinations, but they're all centered around the Prairie Cross. And I think he is in the midst of completing his 3rd one as we speak, and so they'll be in different parts of Clutho Park and Springfield Park. And they're beautiful. I'm quite proud. So, and that was something that we were able to kind of check off for accomplishments this year. So.
to add some more art to the area.
Yeah.
Besides the big Springfield mural that's on the side of the building we were
which
talking about.
PorchFest was paid for as well. You can actually see kind of a timeline and progression of what public art PorchFest has been able to fund, and so it's a full circle. Obviously the festival employs musicians and different artists that we pay, and then we're able to take some of the proceeds and put more public art into the neighborhood. So we feel like it's a win-win
for everybody. That's right. That's right. Fun fact.
Okay.
Fun fact.
I love fun facts.
Kelly and I are both Leos.
Yes. Not only that, but also
we share the same birthday. We share the same, and we're both redheads. Of course, mine's turning gray.
Yeah. I feel like we're definitely bonded now forever. So.
Listen, thank you so much for coming today.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me.
And I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule.
Oh, thank you.
And I hope we can see you again soon.
Yes, you as well. Thank you.
Coming up next, we'll be closing out with Shelton, and we'll talk about what's going to be happening in the upcoming episodes.
Yeah.
So if I with the Relevant app, I can, inside of my vibe, I can say, yo, I got a show today. Or come to this address and you can see this show. And when you get to that address, I put my messaging within a mile radius, and when you get in it, you hear the other message that my show is actually in this warehouse over here. There's no walker-bys, walker-ups.
Yeah.
They have access to you and what you're doing. I think that's the dopest thing about this Relevant app based on the local thing.
Hey, yo, Mal, what's up?
Just trying to put you up on Relevant, yo. It's a new community chat app. I partnered with them to develop the Uplift, bro. We're off that other book, bro. We're doing the Victor Green style now, yo. Download ASAP.
Okay, cool. I'll download it now. Yo. All right.
Yo.
So I downloaded Relevant. What is the Uplift?
It's a new chat platform for the black community, exclusively on Relevant.
So what if I wanted to get my grub on with the black-owned restaurant?
Absolutely. In the category called Eat Up, you can find all the black-owned restaurants and grubbing in there.
So what if I wanted to go higher with my education at a historically black college?
Of course, you can find it inside of the Wise Up category. You can also politic with other black professionals on Power Up, a location-based community to do business and collaborate ideas. We got Speak Up for black community activists, Rise Up for career seekers, and Coming Up for talented rising black stars, all in one place. And the content changes based on the location of your city. Yo, it's going to be the next big thing. Find your vibe, exclusively on Relevant.
And we're back, Shelton. We had a good show today.
We did.
We did. Kelly Rich was here with SPAR.
Yep.
And we talked about the Springfield area, the revitalization efforts. It was, fantastic. And up and down the 8th Street corridor. And she was telling us that, they didn't get hit so hard with the pandemic.
Yeah.
Most of them survived. And actually, 2 new restaurants opened during the pandemic.
Absolutely.
So that's remarkable.
Oh, yeah.
If you think about some of the other, areas in town, they seem to have, taken a big hit. And you guys, talking about 8th Street, you guys had the Uplift launch party there.
That's right, a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
Over at String Sports Brewery.
So, and you said before that Uplift is going to continue to do pop-ups.
Yeah.
And the second issue will be coming out.
Probably mid-December.
That's good.
Sometime before Christmas.
Right. And of course, as you guys already know, you can find the Uplift on the Relevant app.
That's right.
And you might even see the Contrast Project.
Yes.
On the Relevant app.
There's a Contrast Project Vibe, and we'll be doing more stuff with that.
There we
Absolutely.
go. There we go.
And speaking of Springfield,
right.
Take a quick note, real quick. The SPAR people have several interesting things coming up in this holiday season, starting with December 11th from 5 to 8 p.m. It's their holiday market. At Sesquicentennial Park, 1527 North Main Street. That is, if you're out in Springfield, it's about you're going from downtown, it's about a block. Coming from downtown, it's on your right side, about a block before you get to Crispy's.
Right.
So December.
Nice little park.
Holiday market, December 11th. December 15th from 6 to 8 p.m. It's the annual holiday bike ride, where if you like bicycles and you like the holidays and you like people, all those things are going to be present. You can get on a bike and ride around, go buy stuff, eat stuff, drink stuff.
Absolutely.
And
And Kelly rides on all the rides.
Yeah. It's a wild ride at SPAR these days. Wild ride for the nation. And then that's December 15th. And then on January 1st, New Year's Day, you've got Music on Main with special guest Mama Blue, good friend of the show. She'll be in here sometime soon as well. And of course, New Year's, you've got all kinds of fun stuff going on. We'll talk about that in a future episode.
Sounds good. Listen, you can find the Contrast Project on Facebook, Instagram, like, share, comment, and on our YouTube channel. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and
Smash that like button.
smash that sucker. Oh, torque that button.
Torque the button.
Torque the button.
Yes.
Always great to see you, Shelton. Always
too.
great to do a show.
Yes.
We'll see you next time. Peace.
Peace.